I lost 99% of my brain cells and about 1,000 hours of my life playing this game. Welcome to Apex Legends, which is basically every battle royale FPS game to exist, except that it's hard to define because it entails the harsh conditions of the state of Florida, where people are free to, and even encouraged to shoot every person in one of the 4 Ohio-sized vicinities, along with many other Florida-esque events, such as Dog Thunderdome, the illegally licensed Chinese factory, along with a literal satellite which allows you to dox every person in a 200-mile radius. In this game, you get to choose between a cast of 23 unique characters, which is what you would think, but it's really more than less than a third of that because this game is made by EA, which all come to the Apex games, which are basically the Hunger Games, but in the future, and organized by Stan Lee if he was a mercenary. This game requires an incredible use of strategy and aiming, having a good gaming chair, you know? So you should probably play it yourself. However, most people can't play this game, ever. Because unless you're committed enough to either play it less quality than my phone attempting to run Clash Royale, or enough to spend over $1,000 on a good setup, you'll have to buy a magical box from the wizard Sony, and even then, if you don't figure out what the servers are, you'll probably end up with an amazing 30 FPS. Fix the servers, I beg of you, but keep watching because I'm funny and original. The gameplay of Apex is basically the same as every Battle Royale game ever, and if you don't know what a Battle Royale game is, you don't have a childhood. Basically, once you drop in, your underdeveloped brain is only responsible for 2 tasks, shooting and looting, until you win, which sounds easy, but on a complicateder level. Each legend has unique abilities that have varying usefulness for different situations, but I'm not going to explain that because I believe that nobody wants me to go on a rant about how the hell a robot has a heartbeat, it can die from poison gas, while a normal-ass guy can cosplay 30% of the population of Wyoming without a scratch. The guns which you find have varying ammo types depending on range, along with the ring, which is a giant wall of death, which will force you to use strategy to not get stuck in it. Because if you do, or die by any other unfortunate reasons, you luckily can get respawned when your teammates pick up your banner, which gives you a glimmer of hope before you realize that you have to get back all of your earthly possessions, which will have 90% of the time be looted by your teammates. To prevent such heinous things from occurring, you'll need to pray to Orange Jesus to find good loot like body shields, heals, and ammo, or the most important one, guns, because that's the primary way to deal damage in this game. So you'd better amp up that American pride and scavenge for a gun, because or else you'll be stuck with literally boxing out enemies like a Rocky wannabe. Though there is an issue with this, however, which is that in Florida, punching is nothing more than a suggestion, used only by people to create clips in which the FOV makes you feel like you ingested 10 pounds of meth. These people can usually be spotted by their lack of hair because of how much sweat they produce, to show up how little grass they touch, and to flex their lack of protection to the sun by repeatedly spamming this goddamn finisher. This happened to me once, and if you're in ranked, you won't be able to escape punishment. Speaking of game modes, there are a couple, but I don't need to add a section because they're like every FIFA game ever. The exact same. There's the main mode, Trios, in which you can queue with the boys to try to dunk on kids, or go in alone only to get the fastest DC in the West, along with some guy over in Narnia. Arenas is for people who only want violence. There's no loot gathering tediousness, they just load in, buy guns, and start murking people. Duos is for people who think their teammates are bad, so that only having one will be better, but in reality, that's where all the sweat solo queue to practice. But there is a level higher than that, so if you crave to be freed from the shackles of basic human decency, then ranked is the place for you, because it feels like a used gym towel. It's full of sweats, and queue into the wrong game and you might end up going against someone worse than sweats. These are the most common things to know about Apex, and while I could make this already 6-page script go longer than this, by talking about specific Legends abilities and strategies such as how the schizophrenic edgy kid can use a portal to kidnap enemies for a little bit of bamboozling, but I value my time, and editing is really hard.